controversial. What it is it's very explicit. Because today we are going to, everything up until this point that we've talked about has been very male-oriented. Very male-structured, very male, Hasidim, Gururot, Netzach Hod Yesod, been very male. Today, however, it is going to be very, very female. And we're going to understand and learn how women are made in the image of God and what is going on with women, what their role is, what their messianic role is, and how the structures of their pelvis and is a direct function all the way through the histoshalut that we have studied. And so it's going to be, I'm going to use very anatomical, medical, explicit terminology because we have to explain it. And you'll maybe learn more about yourself, and you'll learn more about how it relates to God and why you have different feelings, different emotions, different struggles going on, and what tikkun you are doing, and how you do it, and how you bring that Yesod energy up to Da'at, because the thing we're going over today in this book is called the Geography of Prayer.
What page is yours on?
Mine's on 39. And so, if we're going to go over geography of prayer, this book is talking about Jerusalem, the land, and the Western Wall, etc. But now we have to dive into that and find out what that is. As y'all know, this class, we're going to discuss some topics that have never been discussed before. Let's just put it that way. Okay, so we will...
The geography of prayer.
Geography of prayer. Blessed are you, Hashem, our God, King of the universe and giver of the Torah. And may all the Torah we learn today we remember and utilize. Anybody have a prayer request for the adding on the deal? No? All right. We would like to dedicate this Torah study to David January, to Yehudahai ben Mattaleah, to Rusty Gerhardt, to Greg Davis and his family, to Holly Harris and her family, to R.C. Upmore and her family, and all the families affected in West, to Steve Matus and his family, to all of those who've been had suffered devastation by natural causes in the Philippines and the Midwest and more, Oklahoma and Granbury, Texas, to Russell's Back, the Navy base, Lyndon Baker, David Douglas, Roslyn Body-Lease, to Bob Beats, to Noel Cordoza, to Charles David, to John Corley, to Mary Adams, to Eve Landers, to Leroy Campbell, to Bill Kirk, to Edward Hubson, to Natalie Compton, and to Jackson Elise. Amen.
Amen.
Ruler of the universe and master of all masters, Father of mercy and forgiveness, we thank you, our God and the God of our fathers, by bowing down and kneeling, that you brought us closer to your Torah and your holy work, and you enable us to take part in the secrets of your holy Torah. How worthy are we that you grant us with such a big favor. That is the reason we plead before you, that you will forgive and acquit all of our sins, and that they should not bring separation between you and us. May it be your will before you, our God and the God of our fathers, that you will awaken and prepare our hearts to love and revere you, and that you may listen to our utterances and open our closed hearts to the hidden studies of your Torah. And may our study be pleasant before your place of honor as an aroma of sweet incense, and may you emanate to us light from the source of our soul to all of our being. And may the sparks of your holy servants, through which you revealed your wisdom to the world, shine. May their merit and the merit of their fathers and the merit of their Torah and holiness support us, so we shall not stumble through our study, and by their merit enlighten our eyes and our learning, as stated by King David, the sweet singer of Israel. Open my eyes so that I will see the wonders from your Torah, because from his mouth God gives wisdom and understanding. May the utterances of my mouth and the thoughts of my heart find favor before you, my God, my strength, and my Redeemer. Amen. Amen. Okay. First off, as we've studied in the past, when we're dealing with the spine, remember we always said that the bottom or the base of the spine was Rachel, and the top of the spine was Leah. You know, this is the whole Jacob's ladder scenario. All right. So we have to get a mental picture of that. All right. Now, the opening in the back of the head is the Luz cave, and we've talked about Luz and the Luz cave. All right. And this is also the Machpelah that we've discussed before, the cave of Machpelah. These are very feminine openings. And then the pineal gland is very phallic in nature, but it's very small. All right? It's very yesod in nature, very phallic yesod. But both are yesod. Because, yes, and if you'll look on the back of your book, you see a very good picture of that. And as you see, the cave looks like a very feminine opening. All right? So, except for Wilson. So what we have to understand is if we're made in the image of God, then what is the female counterpart to that? Why are females built in a certain way and we're built in a certain way? All right? Now, as Russell and I were discussing this topic before everybody got here, if y'all have a question, we go through it, and you want to discuss it, we will, at length, because you, as matriarchs of your Torah world, need to know everything, and you need to know yourself better than you need to know anything else. So, because you may have to answer questions. It's very messianic, but if we look at our Torah examples, what we're going to find is women are on a very much higher root than than men are. They're much more holy. They're much more righteous. It's easier for them to refrain from being provocative in nature, etc., etc. Why? Because they come from a holier source, a higher source. We're going to discuss that. Now, if you look throughout the Torah, who always saves the day? It's always Ruth, Naomi, Esther, Sarah, Leah, Rachel, Rebecca, Rahab, Hannah.
Esther.
Esther. Always. Mm-hmm. Always, there's this feminine persona, this Shekhinah persona that is more sacred, more holy. Don't touch it. You know, when Pharaoh wanted to touch Sarah, plagues came on. I mean, there's many, many, many things. And it's because women are the ark. They have the ark. Both lower yesod and upper yesod. Women have 2 yesods. Men have 1. And we're going to go through and we're going to diagram it out. And women produce the man, the feminine waters. men produce the light, right? And so if we're trying to produce stimulation from below, it comes through the female. All right? The Torah says a woman's house is her home, but a man's house is the woman. And what that's talking about is sexually. When a woman walks in her home for the day, she has this overwhelming feeling of, I'm home. And everything about that is hers. She tells people where to put their clothes. She tells people where to put their dishes. She tells people everything.
Because we're the only one knows where they are.
Because it's hers. When a man gets married to a woman, the first thing he better do is find her a home. A place she can decorate herself. The only time a man feels that exact same way is when he's in union in his house. Then he feels that exact same, oh, I'm home. That's the only time. The rest of the time, he's trying to figure out how to get home. That's his goal, is to get home. But she feels at home all the time. Why is this? What is going on? Well, here we go. Now, in our book, The Geography of Prayer, the Talmud says that we are to focus our consciousness to the Holy of Holies at all times. In eating, in prayer, in intercourse, in our everything in our life, we are to focus our consciousness to the Holy of Holies, to Jerusalem. If I forget you, O Jerusalem, let my right hand forget its skill, let my tongue cling to its palate. If I fail to recall you, if I fail to elevate Jerusalem, above my highest joy. So, the highest joy, what is a man and a woman's highest joy? There's many highest joys. You know, men's are very specific. Women have a barrage of things that brings them joy. Their children, they're this, they're that, they're this, they're that. Men are pretty singular. What brings them joy? Why? Straight light, curved light. Men are straight light, phallic light. Women, curved light. There's dualities going on. Women have conversations with themselves. Men don't. Women will talk out loud to communicate with and just go through it because there are always two things going on. What are these two things going on? Leah and Rachel. Every man is married to two women because each woman contains both Leah and Rachel. Men do not. Men contain Adam and are interfaced with the Nakash. Males have one penis. Out of it comes both semen and urine out of the same orifice. Women do not. Women have a clitoris and a vagina, but the urine comes between the both. Neither one are contaminated. Both are holy. Way more. Circumcision is the man. They have to cut off the klipa. You don't have to do that with a woman. The clitoris itself is a phallic projection. It is more of a penis than a man's penis. Way more so. It has way more nerve endings than a man's. This is Leah. Because it's higher. The vaginal opening is Rachel. Now, Leah is from Bina. So women are from Bina, and the Rachel aspect is also from that Bina aspect, where men are from Zah, lower. Now, the Ari tells us that before the fall, the phallus was only used for semen. There was no urine before the fall. That was the light essence. After the fall, the two tracks emerged as one.
That's just in men. There's no urine.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Now, there's also a statement by the disciples of Rabbi Akiva in the Agadah. They dissected a person and they said, "Rabbi, I thought you said it was 248 parts. This one is 253. And he said, "You must have dissected a female." The Ari says that a woman has 2 French doors, 2 hinges, and a key. Now, the vulva itself is made up of the labia minora and the labia majora. The labia minora is the 2 cherubim that is the Ark of the Covenant. The labia majora, these are Solomon's big 20-foot cherubim that we discussed last week. They protect the opening of the world to come, the ark. Creation, the place where creation happens. Okay? What's protruding above that? Leah. Now, although Leah is a higher root than Rachel, who did Jacob have union with first? Leah. Because she's more exterior. So during sex, normally the clitoris is stimulated first. Then Rachel. Now, we know that Yesod on a man is a spherote Joseph, Tzaddik. We know there's 2 modes of Messiah. Messiah ben Joseph and Messiah ben David. When the phallus is inside Rachel, Joseph, which allows the woman's clitoris to be aroused and enlarged. So now Joseph is concealed. Once Joseph is concealed, who is revealed?
David.
David. So we see the 2 modes, the twin messiahs, right there. Now, that is the Ark of the Covenant. That is the opening to the world to come, to Bina. That is literally that dispensation fallen in a state here. That's what it is. Everybody wants to go to the world to come. It's the entrance way. That's what Zah's mission is. That's what Adam's mission is to pick all the pieces and get back where? That's why spilling of the seed and all these things are so big. That's the whole sparks. Because Sog and Ben are the 2 hays, feminine. It's this light that in Nekodim shattered. And so God had to create the eighth, the Mahetavel and Hadar. He had to create this vessel to contain all this light. But the light itself is Leah and Rachel. It's higher than Zah. Ma and Zah don't come in till later. Because he's trying to create a vessel for his light to penetrate in. We have straight light and curved light. There wasn't the curved light couldn't contain it. All right? So, boom, the shattering of the vessels creates, and so this part of this curved light creates Lilith, right? So Lilith, we have a six-dimensional thing. We have your spine was the nakash. It was on the outside of you. The bones were on the outside. The flesh, Adam was just consciousness. All right? There was Adam and there was the nakash. There was Hava and Lilith and Sam. And all these aspects are what is known as Mashiach. All right? So Adam first had union with Lilith. That's why Jacob had to first have union with Leah. Then, out of that, God pulls Rachel out, the Eve part out of Adam. So, he says, bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh, the two wives. She's bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. Phallic, straight light, curved light. Leah, Rachel. All right? So,
And that's also Lilith and Hava.
It's also Lilith and Hava, exactly.
Okay.
All right? So, if you have Rachel, there's you in the vulva itself, you have Rachel, Leah, the two cheruvim, the big cheruvim. You have the whole thing there. The whole Ark of the Covenant there. This is the geography of the Holy of Holies. This is the temple. One Kohanim comes in. The man comes in. And all this arrangement is there. Right? Now, if we go back to our previous illustration of the spine, the lower being Rachel and the back being Leah, all right? If we pulled Yesod up to our head where it originally was in the Gan, now the back opening becomes Rachel, which is where the female vagina opening is. See how it fits? And the clitoris is now pineal. They're the exact same shape, the exact same size. You see how you fit just like a puzzle? And now you have the temple on earth and the temple in heaven. Women are an exact microcosm of the temple in heaven in their head and the temple below on earth, their vulva. So, the key for a woman is to put these two things together in a mental exercise. Breathing and just visualizing it there. When that happens, you've just done Tikkun for Leah and Rachel, Lilith and Hava, on every level. Now, because women have two separate entities going on with them, they have two separate orgasmic light, organus, or haganus. One is the clitoral orgasm. The other one is the vaginal orgasm. They are two different types. One is the vaginal orgasm is a very internal implosion. It's an internal implosion of feeling, where the clitoral is an explosion of feeling. The trick is to merge them together. All right? And then there is the mon, the feminine waters, which is the female ejaculate, which some women achieve, some women don't. The goal is to achieve. All right? And that comes from the G-spot, which is the vaginal orgasm. These are the two modes of light that have made their way from here all the way down to made in the image of God. If it exists on you, it has to exist here. If it exists here, it has to exist on you. Now, the Torah says it's more difficult for God to unite soulmates than it is to split the Red Sea. Why is that? Because of free choice. So, you go through your life and hopefully you meet your soulmate. And it's one of the Torah says it's the most difficult miracle God does. There's nothing harder because of the free will. Because he can do everything else. But because he gave free will, it's difficult. So, what are we doing? We are drawing up the edge. We're on the edge of time. We're drawing that edge. We're drawing our edges up. So for a man in meditation, he would draw up the phallic energy up his spine, through the Luz cave to the pineal gland. And now that has, because a man's genitalia has fallen out. That's the fall. Adam was responsible for the fall. The way you read it, it seems like, oh, he went to Eve, and then Eve was no. It's high. Women are higher. Their ovaries are still higher. Their Netzach and Hod is higher.
Which that's Rachel and Leah, correct?
Yes.
But then in the testes, which is Moses and Aaron.
And
Moses and Aaron is lower than Rachel and Leah.
Yes. And they're external. They're out of the body. We just went through this Hanukkah and Purim. Mm-hmm. All right. This is the rabbinic. This is not as high. Women are higher root. They're tzadek, which is a righteous woman. You have tzaddik, righteous man, tzadek, righteous woman. And when those two combine, that's tzedakah, that's charity. The highest form of charity that can be done is the sexual union between a man and a woman, and that whole experience, that whole organus, whole orgasmic experience is focused in your consciousness, in your Holy of Holies, and his Holy of Holies, in the Holy of Holies in Jerusalem, and all that is one thing. That is called stimulation from below. That's the true definition of stimulation from below. Then God can bless, because his light, it's the same organus. It's the same thing. So to get blessing, you have to give blessing. It's the same thing. Mm-hmm. All right? Now, the female aspect, the clitoral aspect of the male is Benjamin. When Joseph's away, Benjamin comes out. See, Benjamin's this thing that can go in and out. So Benjamin is that aspect as respect to Joseph. It has to work on both sides of the fence. All right?
I don't get that.
But does that have something to do with Benjamin's two names?
I don't know.
Or had then
But Benjamin is a little Joseph. He's a little Yesod.
well, that was
Yeshu.
Joseph that's his brother.
Yes.
And that was his deal in Egypt when they left Benjamin behind, and then to bring Benjamin and to make union
Yes.
with Joseph and Benjamin.
Yes. He's the feminine aspect of the male. Although he's male, he's the Guverot.
I got you.
Okay?
And that's why, well, that explains why he's such a, the Benjamites were the hardheads and the ones that always, were, hard-headed
Yeah.
of the whole group.
Yeah.
Excuse me?
That explains it.
Hard-headed?
And that's what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to say anything there.
All right, Russell, your hole's getting deep. Okay, because women have two Yesods, they have double the power. They have two Yesods.
Okay, explain that again.
Well, the vagina is Rachel, that's one
Okay,
Yesod.
okay.
And the clitoris is Leah, that's the other Yesod. They have two Yesods. One Yesod is pointing in and one Yesod is pointing out. But look at it from that side. You see what I'm saying? That's Yesod. But it's also that. So we have Rachel and Leah. See? It's both Yesod. Depends on which way you're looking at it. That's why I'm a cup.
That's the lower Yesod.
Yes.
And then plus the higher
Plus
Yesod.
plus the higher. All right. So I mean but that's the higher temple. So you want to know the secret to building the third temple? If you take the lower temple and put it to the upper temple, the second temple, the first temple, the second temple, then you make the third temple. We have to do it. Now, I will explain that a little bit. I had it here. What did I do with that? I'm pretty sure I underlined it. One of them is a Torah that says, here it is. The Torah declares, give strength to God, give power to God. How do we give God power? Another one, when I call upon the name of Hashem, give power to our God. In other words, nothing descends from above unless it is initiated from below. So, in other words, women have a much larger role, a much more powerful role than the men, because it's only through the woman that the man can remain righteous. Why? Because Sam, the Nakash, is attached to the man. But nothing's attached to the woman. Unless she gets too far in her Leah Lilith aspect. She goes from Leah to Lilith, but so if that's why the woman's job is the house. That's a double thing there. And so, what's the number one cause of divorce? Infidelity. It's just the way it is. Now, Rachel is called the well. Now we know why. Rachel's well. Rachel's called the well. Rachel is Josephic. Leah is Davidic. The clitoris and the pineal are the two smallest organs in the body. They're the only singular organ without lobes. You know, a right and left hemisphere, a right and left lobe. A male only has one. Well, a male has two, with the pineal and the phallus, and the female has two, upper and lower, both equal. Okay. This is as I said earlier, the female urine does not come through either one of her yesodes because they are not contaminated. That was Adam's problem first. So it's Adam's problem to fix everything up.
That's because he's the one that initiated the problem,
Yes,
and
yes.
that's where the contamination comes from.
Yes.
The
So the holy Teret HaYesod now has both urine and semen. So, Job said, "From my flesh I will behold God." We've said that a bunch in here. But it's not just for the men. It's global. From my flesh I will behold God. We are micro little bitty temples. And even within our own temple we have an upper and lower temple. The heaven and earth. You know what I'm saying? We are, I mean, if this doesn't make somebody believe in God, how we are so created, like it says everything is created, we contain everything. Mm-hmm. Now, this is the true return of Da'at. This is the true return of the fall before, of the state of Adam and Eve before the fall. Now, remember we've talked about the 3 C's, the cerebral, the pineal, the Da'at, the culinary, and the carnality. So, in the Orient, there's certain sexual positions like yin and yang, right? And there's one called Yab Yun. And you can find it in every single sex book. This ultimate position for meditation, etc., etc. And it is when, say, sitting up, woman's facing you, legs facing this way, you are now connected through carnality. You can kiss, you're now connected through culinary, upper yesod, and you're now connected to Da'at. This is, and what was Lilith's issue? She wanted to be dominant to Adam on top. Why? Because the position on top gives the most clitoral stimulation, because you can rub it. Therefore, that was the whole Lilith energy. And that was what caused the whole problem. Because God wanted it to be equal. One wasn't over the other. And of course, the missionary position is the accepted, because now through physical restraints, it's easier. But that is in many genres the meditative couples position. And it doesn't even have to be sexual. Just sitting, this is the common practice in many religions. So, the only orla on a female is the clitoral hood, but it's partial. It does not have to have circumcision. That's the only klipa. So now we understand the Aries, 2 French doors, 2 hinges, and a key. That was his code. So a woman has 5 more parts than a man. A man is 248. A woman is 253. So, a woman does not have to do as much Torah as a man does, because there's not as much fall there. There's not as much put on them. Just as there is an incubus, a male demon, that waits to get the wasted seed, there is a succubus, a female demon, that waits to receive the mon from a female who is participating by herself. This is lesbianism was very large at the time in Egypt. That was their big thing. And this is the Lilith, the masculine woman dominating the other one. This is the trying to control. This is the battle of the two things going on. This is what that is. You can see it. One's more masculine, one's more feminine. This is the whole Lilith and Hava struggle that has manifested itself here.
But they're born that way.
Well, what it is it's not their soul. They weren't born with a male soul. They weren't born with a female soul. They are born with a heavy guvurot or a light guvurot, so to speak. It is their tikkun to overcome that. And most of it is caused from spilling of the seed, from maybe the parent or something. You have to give that force energy. They would be fine, but through the spilling of the seed, you are creating and giving that force power over you. Now, as soon as you give that force power over you, it can control you. And now you start getting this Lilith persona, or this Rachel persona. It happens in the men. Same thing. It's the same thing. It's those two forces. Because you cannot find a righteous homosexual. If they were righteous, guess what? They would not be homosexual. Does that make sense?
Perfectly.
So, this is something I thought for so long that, maybe they just got a female soul. It just hit the wrong coordinate. Well, I was thinking about that. I was like, okay, that's not right.
You mean like a man got a female soul?
Yeah, yeah.
Or vice
Yeah,
versa?
yeah, it just hit the wrong body. But I figure God in that it is a little more calculated than that. Right?
Right, right.
And the male homosexuality was the big Rome. That was the big Rome thing. They didn't roam. All right? Think about it. Egypt is the first exile, Rome. Leah and Rachel, Rome. Men, the lesbianism, the male homosexuality. It fits the formula. It's all easy to explain
So
when
in
we
the
have,
United States
when we have-
today it's kind of equal.
yeah, and
Force.
we have the map, you know, and now look what's happening. Because we're getting so close to the Messianic era, these forces are trying really hard, and it's supposed to be acceptable, and the Klippa wants to turn around. Oh, it's the norm. Oh, it's no big deal. It ain't don't affect you. You know, you accept it. But what it is the forces containing this light. The whole women's liberation movement. If the women would take that energy that they want to use right there and focus that to the Evangelia, Messiah had been here 40 years ago. Been here in the 60s. That's the Guvarot that the Holy Guvarot it needs. It's the curved light that makes the flip. It's the Taurus.
But because because they try to subdue the masculine,
Yes.
it's not working the same source.
Because the Klippa says, the Citraocker said, you rule over the man, you rule over the masculine, and you take that, now you make yourself straight light. No curve light. Because you deserve it. You need to be paid like a man, you need to work like a man, you need to do this. So there's this whole persona in the world that one needs to be here. A man needs to be here over a woman, or a woman needs to be here over a man. No. Should be equal.
That's where they're equal paid. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, we can give them equal pay.
Yeah, we can give them equal pay. All right. Back to here. The Da'at, as I said, the pineal, this is the Metatron temple. The penis, vagina, whole thing, this is the earthly temple. That's why it's so sacred. You know, I was getting my truck aligned today. And I was in the body shop there, the little, whatever, reading the paper, and Rachel Ray was on the TV, you know. And so that's what you had to watch. Steve Harvey was on there.
Steve Harvey's bad.
Okay? And Steve Harvey said something that I'd never thought about before. And he was giving marital advice. And he said that every woman is sitting on a pot of gold. And I thought, you know, he's got it figured out. He said, because it's the most precious thing on earth. He said, God has figured out if you want something precious, you got to make it difficult to get to. If you want oil, you got to drill for it. If you want a diamond, you've got to blow up the mountain and chisel it out. You know, if you want a pearl, you got to dive deep down in the bottom of the ocean. You know, he said the most awesome things in the world are the hardest things to get to. And he said, and women sit on it, so you can't get to it. You know,
That sounds like Steve Harvey.
but you know, I'm sitting there listening to this, and I'm going on the flip side. That's because it's the ark. It made total sense with what I was going to teach today, with what he was going through, with what he was explaining, because it is the Holy of Holies. It is the temple. It is that whole thing that only a woman contains all the extra aspects of. It's the Shekhinah. It is that essence. All right? So, let me see. Once you engage your Rachel aspect and your Leah aspect, you will build the third temple with fire. This is the aspect and the role of the Shekhinah that is in exile. So you're bringing the Shekhinah out of exile. The women, when they use their light and their consciousness, when they're conscious of what they're doing, and they are accepted the fact they're a holy woman, and they are going to use their temples, so to speak, whether it be physically or spiritually in prayer and meditation. This is the essence of Messiah ben David, where males are the aspect of Messiah ben Joseph. This is the
Malchut is feminine.
Yes.
David was feminine to God, and that's
This
how
is
all of that
David.
works out.
This is David. There's the D. Malchut is David. It's feminine.
And she was Malchut is a Shekhinah,
It's a Shekhinah.
and
That's right.
So that's how-
Y'all have no idea how crucial y'all are. Y'all are the key to the process. The whole thing. Now,
one thing I'm not, I mean, that I guess I'm confused a little bit is the Ma'im Nukvim,
Yeah.
the feminine waters.
yes.
And so what you're saying is that is light as well as
Yes.
from the male. They are both light.
They're both light. They're both essence. They're both life essences. This is the
Is there a difference? Is one of them is the male light? Is it life? Is the feminine? But the feminine is the essence of life or the essence of light.
well, the way I understand it in talking with Rabbi is the female ejaculate, the squirting formula, is the true mon. It's the true feminine waters, where it's more the mon and the man is the ma'im dukvin, and it's the ma'im nukvin. So it's the two aspects of straight light, curved light. You know, we had the ma'im dukvin and the ma'im nukvin.
And Dukvim means what?
Dukvin is the dukvin is like the semen, the male,
Okay.
and the mon is the feminine waters.
Okay.
Okay, and it works like this: the man cannot penetrate the woman until the waters are released. It'd be like sandpaper.
So the main Duke beam is the
That'd be the straight light.
straight line.
It's
Yeah.
just straight light. Okay.
That would be like the
And,
semen.
And the main.
Ma'im nukvin is the lower feminine waters, the female lubricant, if you will.
Okay. Okay.
You have to remember, you have to have stimulation from below first before you can get this. This has to come first, or you can't.
That is the stimulation.
Yeah,
from
yeah,
below.
yeah. I mean, you can't even penetrate without it.
Okay.
All right. Now, the children of Israel lived on the manna, the man, for 40 years. And this is the Ma'im Dukvim in the desert. They had no waste. They did not urinate. They did not defecate for 40 years. Because they were living in that consciousness, on that where they're before the ureter had to come in, before the waste had to come in, before the Sam and Lilith had to, that's the level they were living on. There was no waste. That's what the manna was.
What was the manna?
It was mine Dukrim.
Okay.
Basically, I mean, it was
They were living off the light.
the male light of God, which would be semen. That's exactly what it was.
So mine Duke Beam is male semen?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Now, the sexual organs, both male and female, will return to Da'at in the Messianic era for both men and women. This is the proverbial knowing. You will always know each other forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. This is the orgasmic bliss of the world to come. This is why the sages say, and the man will recline with his crowns, Rachel and Leah, in his head. Doesn't say on his head. And the righteous, it doesn't say man, it says, and the righteous will recline in the world to come with his crowns in his head. See how the sages code that? And now when you know the geography of it, what's really going on? Now, depression comes from a strong Lilith aspect. There are way more women on depressive meds than there are men. Men don't get really depressed, where women get very depressed. Women have a large emotional range because they're two women in one. You know, and Russell and I talked about this before, and not to make this, I don't want to make this funny, but we both talked about we never know which woman we're going to get when we go home. Are we going to get the Leah, or are we going to get the Rachel? You know, we have no idea. We don't know.
Well,
This
now,
is-
just a minute, clarify for me, because I don't know which was. I'm assuming you're talking about the sweet loving one versus the one that's ready to attack.
Yeah.
So which one was
Leah is stronger, Leah is softer.
like?
I mean, Rachel is softer, Leah is stronger. But
But
each
she
of you
was
can,
crying all the time, so
yes, but she was doing that to mitigate the Gouverot.
That was still a form of feminine waters.
That was
tears.
feminine waters. That was waters are hesed. She was mitigating. She knew what she was doing. She knew what she was doing. She was making herself softer. She was combining the two.
Yes, but and then on the shot level, wasn't she sad as well because
She was physically crying.
Yeah, she was
Because-
physically sad.
she wasn't as loved as Rachel?
That's correct. But why? Because Zah and Jacob is lower. Lower. This is the revealed. She's the concealed. You know?
And that's what she was. She on her wedding night, she was the one that was concealed.
She was the one that was concealed. This is concealed and revealed. We have the whole thing here.
She never
Oh.
got the outward
Yeah.
affection that Rachel would get or attention from Jacob.
Where does David come from? Her. She had way more kids. She was way more blessed, if you would. Fertile. But she tells Rachel, "You want my husband to take my mandrakes too?" This is the wrestle that women have. This is why, you know, the book Men Are From Mars, Women From Venus, whatever it is. This is why men don't understand women, because they don't realize they're living with two people.
well, my husband called it mean week.
Mean week? I'm not talking about the whole period week and all that. That is a hormonal thing. I mean, that is sloughing off klipa and death and everything. That's what that is.
And I've read that's when we're more like men because we're more aggressive.
Yes, yeah, but
And that's not the same
but
thing.
during every day, there's still two of you. You lean to one side, you lean to the other. Lean to one side. One's a higher root, one's a lower root. That's all it is.
Got to be wood.
You know, so and men, you know, we have no idea which one it is. I mean, we can figure it out pretty quick, but anyway.
You don't know it till you walk up on it.
So here's the thing. You have Adam,
Softly.
all right? The Nakash is an extension of Hava. Okay? And the evil Nakash is an extension of that Nakash.
Say that again.
You have Adam, and Hava's an extension of Adam. And from Hava, the Nakash is an extension of Hava. And from the Nakash, you have an extension here called the evil Nakash. The holy serpent, the unholy, the Satan. You know what I'm saying? And the problem is, people call this whole thing the Satan or Sam or whatever. And they're calling, there's a holy Nakash too.
Is that the extension of Hava? Is
Yes.
it holy?
Yes.
So
And really, the righteous Gentile is the Nakash to the Jew. That's all he
Yeah,
is.
exactly.
That's all he is. He's just the Nakash,
The good one.
the good one, the holy serpent.
It's kind of like a reflection.
Yes. Except there, the reflection comes to life.
It doesn't have anything to do with Lilith.
Well, she's a whole part of that persona. The Sam.
Well,
And
she's the unholy Nakash.
Yeah,
isn't
she's the unholy. And really, she's holy of holies. It's all holy of holies. But when the klipa attaches to it, it changes its persona. It's the klipa that's not unholy. That's unholy. It's
Right.
the klipa. It's the waste.
But now we got these two personas of a Nakash. You got the holy and the unholy. That is front and back side.
Front side, back side of
That's
the,
kinda-
of the spine. The spine is Yesod. This is the. That's why we have Jacob's ladder over here, and we have church steeples over here. Front side, back side, same damn thing. No difference. All right.
So in this being that was Adam before the fall, and his spine was exterior,
Mm-hmm.
was then there another
No,
spine attached to that
Yeah,
spine?
well, yeah, all right. Well, we're talking about a 6-dimensional structure. And so, remember the position I told you a while ago? Because, what do we know about Rosh Hashanah? They were back to back.
Right.
And God had to separate their spines so that they could do what?
Which
All
is
the
right,
Yesods. Boop, 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 boop.
So are you saying like maybe when they're back to back, which is death?
When they were back to back,
Is that Lilith?
when they were back to back, Adam was vulnerable because his Yesod is exposed.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
But they couldn't even see each other.
They're 6-dimensional creatures.
Yeah.
You're thinking literally back to back.
Yeah.
What is back to back in 6D? Because you have to remember, you have Mashiach, Nakash, Adam, Sam, Lil, Hava. I mean, you've got all this thing going on. That's why it's so hard to explain, because as soon as you
It's like
zoom in on it,
Medusa.
you've now messed it up. You know?
You can't grasp it.
Yeah. So you got to just zoom back out. Okay, they were back to back, which made Yesods vulnerable from attack. You know, because
For the klipa to attach.
for the
to
klipa
it.
to attach to it. You know,
But I didn't
and
think there was Klipa there.
yes, because we had the shattering of the vessels.
No, I know, but
That's the thing. That's when the klipa came in. That's they were back to back. The klipa came in. They were allowed to
see,
attach.
Stacy, right here, we have the shattering of the vessels. Then we have the 8th king, which is Beradim. This is the back. This is the structure. And then now we got Adam, and so this whole structure whole 6D structure I just described. What is its name?
the garden.
No. Adam Harishon.
That's the fallen Adam.
This is the Adam Harishon. And what do we call the klipa part? Adam Blial. So, where is Leah? Where is the woman in the Tzimtzum? In the Ein Sof. What did God have to do in the Tzimtzum? He had to make space. He had to make a hole so he could penetrate his light. But his light's everywhere. So what does he have to do? He has to push himself through himself. Okay? So, when he makes a cavity, this is Rachel. But as he hits the other end, the end of himself, and as he pulls back through, that's Leah. Because here's Rachel, and here's Leah. But when it comes back through the other way, like I've drawn in this picture, see this, here's my cup, here's my dotted line on my cup. But as God pulls back, pulls the light back, now we have the smaller. This would be the clitoral. This would be the vaginal. This would be the clitoral. This would be the Leah aspect pulling back. This is the root of the Holy of Holies in the Ein Sof, in the Tzimtzum. That's why it's so stinking important. So, how does a male and female create? In, out. In, out. Tzimtzum. That's all it is. It's the image of God all the way back to the Ein Sof. The Tzimtzum is the place where penetration occurs. This is the Rachel and the Leah. What is this world, Olam Hazeh, and what is Olam Haba, the world to come? Olam Hazeh, this world, is the cosmic Yesod, the cosmic male phallus. As it's just about to enter into the cosmic vagina, the world to come, it's going to hit its orla on the phallus. This is the secret of Gog and Magog. And as soon as that klipa is that circumcision happens, cosmic circumcision, then the Olam Hazeh, this world, is allowed to penetrate Olam Haba, and the two things, the duality, is now unity. He and his name are one. This whole creation is literally creation. Like sexual creation. That's what this entire thing is. The fallen sparks, the nitzotzots, it's the spilled seed. That's all it is. Spilled light. That's all it is. Our job as male and female is to become righteous, tzaddik, righteous women, tzadek, and do tzedakah. Now, there's many forms. We can do charity, put money in a deal. Or we can do it, the highest level you can do it is with your partner. There is no higher light on earth than that. Doesn't get any higher. It feeds the demons, for goodness sakes. It's what creates them. This is the secret of before Abraham and Sarah had children, what does it say? And the souls they created. What were they doing? They were doing this very thing, creating high souls that would eventually come down and be able to receive the Torah. This has been working on every level you can possibly imagine since the first Simpson that created the Rachel and the Leah aspects of creation. So, see if I have anything left. When the Klippa is gone, the Nakash will return into Hava. Hava will return into Adam. And this is what we would call Messiah. Adam.
Adam completed.
Completed. All right?
With the Nakash and Chava, and all these aspects are back into it,
So,
making him
So it will
whole.
never be a person.
you will be me, I will be you, and we will be in it. And we will, you will have the very consciousness you have of your own personality today. You will be your own consciousness. The same consciousness you have today, you're going to have there. But you will be in constant 3 C's with your partner and the Holy One all the time.
And then also connected
Forever
with,
and never.
with all the Gilguls and everything,
And-
what part of Adam you're in.
Yeah.
You're going to be connected with that as well. So you'll have a consciousness of that.
It's ultimate, it'll be ultimate bliss. Ultimate bliss.
What if you're claustrophobic?
There will be so much space there. Space has space. It'll the
There will
space.
be, yeah.
The space time continuum will be huge.
Yeah, there is.
So, guys, y'all were very adult, very difficult subject matter to tackle. You obviously can't teach this day one. You have to you have to go through the map that we've gone through for the last 2 years. You have to go through the Histal Shalut. You have to go through the Parshas. You have to start getting into the meditation, because what did it say Elijah did when he went to pray? He put his head between his legs. Now, that's the Peshat. And it says, and Elijah put his head between his legs and prayed. Was he scared? No. What is it really saying? He brought Yesod to Da'at. He knew exactly what he was doing. So, now, this week, when you say your prayers, or you have union with your partner or whatever, your partner doesn't even have to be aware this is going on. You bring everything up, you center it into your consciousness, you bring everything in, you become true Adamic, and that is in the pineal gland in the Holy of Holies in Jerusalem, and now the whole thing is one with the Creator. He and His name are one. This is the total tikkun. You are truly messianic. You are truly world to come. That is the ultimate charity. That is how
And stimulation.
stimulation. That is how the third temple will be built. This is how it works, people. And what has the church done? They have taught everybody that sex is dirty, sex is nasty, sex, don't touch that, don't put that there, don't do this, don't do that. And that is the Klippa's way, that is the other side's way of just taking the holiness, taking the true way of tikkun completely out of the whole process. How do you do it? You pervert it. You make it perverted. That's the secret of the entire Torah. That, as Paul Harvey would say, is the rest of the story. That is the true rest of the story. So, anyway, big tough class here. Next week, let's see. So now you understand the geography of prayer.
Is Moni still there?